Is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Simonson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Beck.
Here. Okay. Before we begin the work session, we have one of those events that we like to have out here on center stage. A couple lucky individuals are being sworn into the finest police department in New Jersey. I would say the world, but you know where I came from. I'm looking for Jonathan Scheck and Corey Scheid. Where these guys are here somewhere. I just talked. Oh, they are. Stand over there. You should get in my field of vision. I'm going to swear them in, and Jonathan Scheck we'll start with him. His mother, Bonnie Boyle, will be holding the Bible, and appropriate family people will be coming up. How old are you guys, by the way?
I'm 21.
21?
At 24.
24, okay. So that's I was 20. That's a long time ago. I hate to say that. 1970, I was telling them. Some of you may have been alive then. Okay, so if council will come down with me, I will swear these fine young men in. Jonathan, you're up first. Okay. Jonathan Scheck. Okay, we need a Bible. What else do I need, Bob?
That's it.
Okay. You holding the Bible? Okay, let's get a family photo. Why don't you turn around, come over here, come on over here. Okay, you gotta raise your right hand and put your left hand on the Bible. Okay, you wanna slide over, or you're comfortable with it? Okay, repeat after me. I, Jonathan Scheck,
I, Jonathan Scheck,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
in the Township of Lover,
and the Township of Lower,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Wait a second, you gotta get a picture here. You gotta get the portrait. Then you have to do your speech. Just leave the mayor alone when they're after. The friend of mine. I gotta sign each.
I already have them.
And then we have Corey. Last time I think I saw this guy, we were giving him an award. We had the gas explosion. You want to step it back into your seat? Don't run away with me. I'm saying something nice about it. We had the explosion on Atlantic Avenue, if you remember that. That a little over a year ago, I'm sure about a year and a half now. And I was standing in the front as you were carrying out the woman that was in the residence there. And we were just proud of your efforts. I, Corey Scheid,
I, Corey Scheid,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
of police officer
of police officer
in the Township of Lower
in the Township of Lower,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Hey, you make it a pic. Go turn around, huddle up. Maybe we can get one with Jim and some of his people. Fit in there a little bit. Take some paper. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. I want to congratulate both of you on a job well done. It's always an exciting time for the police department when we get a chance to hire new officers. If it wasn't for the manager, the mayor, and council, we wouldn't have had this opportunity. So I want to thank you all for that opportunity. And I also want to thank everybody here for supporting the police department.
Where's the party?
Mud Beach.
Would you stop? All right. It's always
Something
good.
I said?
Yeah. It was. Nice try. All right, this is gonna be good. Okay, we move down to the work session. We have a presentation from Helen Thompson.
Can I put that over there on the,
I'm sorry, what did you
can I
say?
put it on the easel over there? The one board or just leave it?
Yeah,
like that?
whatever
Yeah.
you want to do, whatever makes it easy.
Hi, my name is Helen Thompson, 44 East Delaware Parkway Villas. And I'd like to present an idea of mine. It's called Mutt's Cove, and it's a proposed off-leash dog park in Lower Township, New Jersey. And it's a township-owned beach. It's a half-mile strip of beach totaling 13.2 acres. It ends at the jetty and canal. It would be easy to manage. Access points at both ends, Douglas Park and Lincoln Boulevard. It's already a known dog beach. It would be a boost for tourism in Lower Township. Many residents would support the location. It's not currently a heavily trafficked beach. There's a picture taken August 9th, 2014 at 4:52 p.m., and it was a Saturday. And I blew up that same picture at Lincoln Boulevard, and you can see that there's still people on the beach, the same picture, but they're after the houses start that way. And it'd be a huge hit with dog owners, and dog owners would always have a place to take their dogs as future beach regulations get tighter and tighter. I brought some pictures in of 3 off-leash dog parks, dog beaches, and 2 of them are in Florida, and 1 is in San Diego. One is the original dog beach, San Diego, California. 1 is Fort DeSoto, Paul Playground, St. Petersburg, Florida, and the other one is Bonita Beach. They're all 3 of them are year-round, and they're all free. And The other documentation was the photos and the map, and there's an enlarged view, a Google view of the area. I don't know if you guys want to see this. You want to see this or no? You're good?
We have it on the
Okay.
information.
And from Google Earth. And that would be that strip right here, just ending, this is Lincoln Boulevard, just ending just shy to the jetty down here. And, okay, so I made up a set of rules. It's a rough draft. I split it up, must-have rules, what I feel is must-have rules, and what I feel would be open for more discussion. It's just the way I would have it. And dogs must be current on vaccinations. Current dog licenses will be prominently displayed at all times. Puppies under 4 months old are not allowed, and they're not done with their puppy shots until they're 4 months old. They get their last set at 4 months old. No female dogs while in heat. Aggressive dogs are not allowed. Handlers will have leashes for their dogs at all times. Dogs must wear collars or harnesses at all times. No choke, prong, training, or shock collars allowed. That's due to injuries. No food, human or otherwise, dog treats or glass allowed. No smoking allowed, and children must be closely supervised at all times. Handlers should pick up after their dogs immediately. And these are just a few open for discussion. I would think more discussion. And it would be, must be 18 years old or accompanied by an adult to enter. That's probably not gonna, those are open. Enter at your own risk and beware large dogs running and playing. Handlers will be financially responsible and liable for any injuries caused by their dogs. Owners must sign a release excluding Lower Township, New Jersey from any responsibility or financial liability for injuries to their person or pets. And I didn't put entering and exiting the dog park on the list of rules, but I think that deserves a little bit of talk, discussion about it. Mutts Cove would align with the overwhelming majority of off-leash dog parks and beaches, and would require all dogs be leashed upon entering and exiting the beach. Mutts Cove would also require a novel second safety net to screen aggressive dogs in case one manages to slip past the gate. Owners would be required to keep all dogs leashed upon entering and until the arriving dog makes contact with several dogs in the beach area. Once contact is made and no signs of aggression emerge, the arriving dog can then be released to play. This keeps the arriving dog on a leash, and he or she can swiftly and easily be removed before any damage can occur. And just to sum it up, what makes a great dog park, I believe there's 4 points. It would be the size, the draw, the place, and the rules. And the size, talk about that. Dogs need plenty of room to run and play. It's in their nature. They're not den animals, they're wanderers. Mutts Cove offers a half-mile stretch of beach that allows dogs plenty of room to run, swim, release pent-up energy, and build up muscle tone. The downside of all that exercise is Lower Township dogs would become healthier and local veterinarians would lose money. The draw, that's the second point. It has to have something that attracts dog owners so they look forward to going there. Mutts Cove offers a half-mile strip of beach, clean water access, and an opportunity for dogs to run, play, cool off, and socialize. It offers owners a place to meet other dog owners, swim, relax, have fun, and not have to worry about their dogs overheating in the summer. And the place. It must be an area where dog owners feel confident their dogs will not end up sick by going there. Mutts Cove offers a clean stretch of the Delaware Bay that both dogs and their owners can utilize. They do not have to worry about becoming ill. It has a great sandy beach, and owners will not have to worry about sliced paw pads. And the rules. Rules should not be so restrictive that dog owners shy away from going there, and they should not unfairly exclude various dogs for no valid reason. Mutts Cove offers rules that are sensible and easy to adhere to. It does not exclude specific breeds, but instead it excludes all aggressive dogs in general. It aligns with the majority of dog parks and also excludes female dogs while in heat, unvaccinated dogs, unlicensed dogs, and dogs wearing collars that could cause injuries. Mutts Cove has all the qualities of a great dog beach. As future beach regulations tighten up, residents will always have a special place to take their dogs. Once Mutts Cove is seen in action, residents will never allow it to be taken away. And any questions? I only got 10 minutes, so I think I don't know if I used it all right. Anyway, there it is.
Thank you. And we move down to the consent agenda. Council comments or questions on the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion that Resolution 2015-186 be removed from the consent agenda and put on the regular agenda.
Okay.
Mayor, excuse me. I also, with regards to 2015-188, after conducting my due diligence on this grant, I would like council to consider tabling such so we can all get together and discuss different mandates of this grant.
I'll make a motion to table it.
I'll second.
I still have some questions on it. Okay, you want to table it? Okay. I'll save the questions, I guess, until, see if it comes back up as far as that goes. But, you know, I would, you know, it's kind of like, I'd like a heads up on those things, in the sense, I don't know where it came from, whose initiative or anything like that. And it was put on the preliminary agenda, I get that. That's a big item. And I would rather that we have those kinds of items on, like, a discussion at the work session. And I mean, it would have a lasting impact on a lot of things within the township, some positive, maybe some negative. But I'm just saying that, you know, when it gets put on a consent agenda like that, then we're just asking for it to be moved off of there. And before we bring it up, maybe we put it at a work session in the future. That's all I'm asking.
And this grant was applied for a year
I know.
ago, which I wasn't aware of.
Right.
And
And there was an economic factor that was involved with it. But at the time, I mean, since then, we've increased our authorized strength by 4 people. So, I mean, you know, that's part of what we were going to talk about. But that being said, since it's being tabled, there's not a necessity for that. So,
Roll on the tabling.
yes.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. And is there any other council comments on any of the other items on here? If not, we'll open it up for public comment on the consent agenda. No microphone? I guess that's a lot to ask, but could you go over and
Is it on?
bring it back?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Maybe we could hire somebody to bring the microphone. There we go. We got a volunteer. Thank you.
Janet Pittsville. I'm glad you decided to drop that resolution, or the 188, 186. That's 2 out of the 3 I wanted to talk about. What I want to talk about is the ordinance, salary ordinance.
Right.
I would like you to drop the position in there of the director of personnel. As I understand, when we hired former township manager Mike Vaughn, it was determined by this body politic that the personnel is the duty of the township manager. So I really don't like seeing the personnel
Is that a change,
position
Joel?
in the salary ordinance, even though you have no intention of filling it right now. The mere fact that it exists on your salary as a job title means at some point it could be filled. I mean, you have a township manager, you have a township clerk, you also have an assistant township clerk, and like I said, the job duties, and I believe you, Councilman Simon, said brought up the point when I brought up the point that the township manager position was topped out at $35,000 because it was a combination of personnel director and the township manager, and you said you believed the personnel duties were the township manager's responsibility. So I just like that director of personnel position dropped.
I think there was a history with that. Doesn't that go back to when we removed a manager at one time? And that position was created,
Kathy McPherson, yeah.
right?
But the fact that it it's sitting there means at some point somebody could decide to fill that with a position. And quite frankly, I'd like to make it a lot more difficult for you to do that. And it would be a lot more difficult if it didn't exist. So I would like to see it gone, and then you have to come back to the public and plead your case of why we need a director of personnel, as opposed to it sitting there and
Well,
potentially being filled.
Yeah. It would still have to go through council to be filled. I mean, it could just, it would
If the
have to.
position isn't here on your salary ordinance, it's a
Yeah.
lot more work.
I don't, it's up to council.
Why would you leave it sit there when nobody's in it and nobody's been in it for as long as I can remember? Why have a position sitting there that you're obviously, like I said, you've already made the determination that is the responsibility of the township manager. Isn't that why the position went township manager from 35,000 to 85 to 120,000, that salary range? Because it's been incorporated. It's one position. It's not two anymore.
Well, You're waiting for us to make a comment as to whether we want to remove this. or
You
not.
think I'm going to keep
It's
on
not,
talking,
it's up
but
to,
you'll
it's
all
up
be
to council.
silent?
Council, what do you feel? Does any,
Nope.
let me ask you this, let's do a quick poll on this. Is anybody in favor of removing that position?
I want to look into a little bit more. She brought up some very valid points, and I know why it was created years ago, and I kind of agree with her, but I just want to check and.
Well, then
we'll move
can you
back
do a
into it.
vote of tabling this until you do it more? I mean, you don't want to vote on passing it when you say you want to check into
This
it.
is just the first reading. This is not
Right,
passing.
right,
This is
right.
just the first reading.
So you want to
I want to
look
look at,
into
we could
it
change
before
it
the
at the next
second
meeting at
meeting?
the public comment. That's,
Okay, the poll, Mr. Perry.
I would like to see the history on it. I don't know the history of the position, so I can't really make an educated decision whether to remove it or not. You know, from what I'm hearing right now, to me, it's just hearsay. I don't know the facts of when it was put there and why it was put there. I do know that the director of personnel usually deals with civil service issues. And I know that that's a mandatory because we are a civil service community, correct? So, you know, who does it? You know, I don't know, but I need to research it and find the facts out before I can vote on it, to remove it.
Gentlemen,
I
the
think
rest of you,
That's what happened, wasn't it, when they were removing a manager in order to
when was
put
that?
somebody,
Kathy McPherson.
yeah.
What decade was that?
That was when I was gone,
2007.
Really?
yeah. It was during my vacation period,
Troublemaker.
2007 and 8,
She kept the title of Director of Personnel,
yeah.
no longer the Township Manager.
Right.
She was moved to another office.
She was,
So that's pretty
She-
much the
she
consensus.
graduated
Everybody
to an
wants to look
office
into
inside
it a
the
little
police
further.
building.
Yes?
Say it again?
You want to look into it a little further?
Yeah, we'll get back to it. I mean, you know, it's kind of like your point's taken, but the reality of it is, if there was a need to fill that position, and then we don't have it. Now we'd have to go back in and recreate the position. Okay. The other
can't
thing is
imagine a
that you can be
need
assured
if
we're
you have
not
the
going to fill that
township
position in
manager.
the back room. It's got to be done out here. So you would have that ability to publicly say, don't do this.
Well, if you didn't have the township manager, who's running the township?
What's that now?
If you didn't have the township manager, would be the only reason you would need to fill a personnel position, because it is
I
their
don't know.
responsibility.
I just don't know. You know,
Okay.
that's something that.
One other thing I want to, as far as, I know you tabled, excuse me, I think Mr. Perry, you said you wanted to talk about 186 further down the road. Did you not?
No, I asked to have it moved off the consent agenda and put on the regular agenda.
Okay. And may I talk about it then?
If you wish.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll hold my comments till then. Thank you.
Is there any other comments or questions on the consent agenda? Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, June 1, 2015, and June 8, 2015. Resolution 2015-179 through 185, 2015-187, 2015-189, and 190, And ordinance 2015-05, the salary ordinance. The salary ordinance is required by Township Code to be adopted annually. This is the first reading of this ordinance. The second reading and public hearing is scheduled for July 6th, 2015.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2015-186, authorization for the 2015 Incentive Award for Insurance Waivers. 24 employees, $56,083.33.
Okay, do I have council comments on this? Okay, close that or open up for public comment?
Wow, that was fast. Okay, 186. I don't know who does this, but it's highly unusual for it to come out with so many people getting the $5,000 waiver.
Right.
And is this the responsibility of the township manager to calculate, or who does this exactly?
I think it comes through the payroll office.
Oh, you have a payroll office? Okay. All right, here's my dilemma. We're in the 4th year of Chapter 78, correct? Employee contribution.
The toolkit?
Do you-
Yeah, you're talking about the
Yeah,
employee contributions for
contribution,
healthcare?
Health, right.
Right.
Okay, and so let's suppose that somebody's in the higher percentile, but I don't have the exact graph here, 90,000 and above. They're paying 35% of their premium. Yes?
Is it 35 or 30?
It's 35. According to NJSA 40-17.1, Chapter 7, waiver payment. Waiver is limited to 25% or $5,000, whichever is less, key, of the amount saved by the local unit because of the employee's waiver of coverage. Because the calculation is based on the amount saved by the employer, the waiver calculation must first be reduced by the amount the employee would be contributing, the 35%, if that is their level, if they took the benefit to calculate the waiver amount. I don't know what a typical health insurance premium, husband, spouse, let's just take 25,000, okay?
For family, 29,400 right now.
Okay, I didn't do all the calculations. Let's do the one that I did do. $25,000 premium. They're at the 35 percentile. They're supposed to pay $8,750. That reduces the premium to $16,250, of which 25% would be $4,062. Within your sheet, there is no one that's getting that amount. They're all getting $5,000. Now, I understand there might be some misunderstanding due that when I read the 186, it said according to the contract. Well, state law, Chapter 78 supersedes contract.
Unless the contract was signed before the state law took effect.
Well, then they wouldn't be at 35%
Right.
because they have the
They would be
4
under- they
years.
would be under the-
And I
Yeah,
believe
when it-
4 out of the 5
that-
contracts
yeah.
expired December 31st of this year, which would
They're
put
under the
them in the 4th year.
But it's, I think we,
Well,
was
does
negotiated.
do we know the answer to this? Because if not, if you're not sure, we should table this
You should,
take a
because
look at it.
everybody's getting $5,000 here.
and just make sure that what we're doing
And
is.
make sure that you're complying with state law, which is that you deduct
Well-
their amount from the premium, and then 25% or $5,000, whichever is.
I have to tell you, that's a good grab. I wouldn't see that in a million years, but I mean, you may be right, you may be wrong, but it's a good point.
I doubt it, but go ahead and kick it out.
Which part?
You doubter. Anyhow, it's just an FYI, just
And they're
check
not
it
all
out,
5,000.
if you will, before you cut the checks.
Well, I mean, is there any reason why we got to do it this week?
No, the only
then-
comment I would make on this is that this is certainly my first year, but in checking the insurance premiums and what has happened just in the last 3 years, for 24 people to opt out, and for us with those family folks to pay $5,000 where their family units used to be 20, now it's approaching $30,000. So there's significant savings here to Lower Township. If 12 of them were family members, 12, 25, we're saving $300,000 if it applied to half of these folks. That's a big savings to the township. So,
I
but I
understand.
understand, and I
But
think we
I
need
make
to,
the law.
No.
And we all have to comply with.
I agree with you,
All right.
and we'll
Thank you very
check it
much.
closely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other comments on that, council, table? Let's take a look at this.
If the manager doesn't see
Yeah.
a problem, it's,
I don't see any major
they're
issues.
not all 5,000, but it's,
We're not time.
Well,
It's not-
If it's
yeah,
not-
it's
there's
not
no
time
time
sensitive.
constraints, it's-
So I would suggest that we table it and take a closer look at it and then bring it back up. Okay? Guys, I have a motion to table.
Motion to table?
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Abstain.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2015-191. This is an appointment to the Zoning Board of Adjustments. David Brand currently holds the term and expires June 30th of 2015. And he did request reappointment.
Okay. Christmas.
Make a motion.
Council? Go ahead.
I'll make a motion for Dave Brand. That's,
Okay, well, we have to have public comment. Any public comment on this resolution 2015-191? All right, go ahead.
I'll make a motion for Dave Brand.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2015-192. This is an appointment to the Zoning Board of Adjustments. Bruce Waterman's term expires on June 30th, and he also requested reappointment.
Okay. Any public comment on 2015-192? Close the public comment. Council?
Make a motion for Mr. Waterman.
Second?
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
2015-193, appointment to the Zoning Board of Adjustments. Diane Kelly, her term expired on June 30th, 2015, and she has requested reappointment.
Okay. Is there any public comment on 2015-193? Close the public portion. Do I have a nomination?
Make a motion.
Second?
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
2015-194, appointment to the Planning Board. John McNulty is currently serving. His term expires on June 30th, and he has also requested to be reappointed.
Okay. Is there any public comment on 2015-194? Close the public portion. Do I have a nomination?
Make a motion.
Second?
And,
Council-
or do we have to, I know his name's written there, but shouldn't we?
Well, he made the motion to reappoint him. Am I correct? Councilman Simonson?
Yes.
Sorry. Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2015-195. This is an appointment to the Planning Board to fill vacancy in alternate number 1.
I'd like to nominate John Lauterbach.
Well, okay.
Did I go too fast?
No, that's all right. I was just going to ask if anybody we've been doing public comment just because most people don't get up on. Does anybody from the public wish to step forward on this one? All right, council comments, nominations. You talk John Lauterbach. I'll second his.
And I would like to make a motion for Robert Crompton.
Well, we got to go through the one
Okay.
on this one first,
All right, for John Lauterbach.
right?
Councilmember Conrad?
No.
Councilmember Perry?
No.
Councilmember Simonson?
No.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
I'd like to nominate Robert Crompton. He was on the planning board prior, and as someone brought up, I should try to get more people from the villas. Mr. Lauback, you were a great candidate. But the man wants to go back on. He's a great guy, and he supports a lot of our volunteer organizations, but he was on the planning board and already holds a lot of the certs.
Okay. Do I have a second? We seem to be in a quandary. Did you make an official nomination?
Yes, I made a nomination.
I believe you did. We don't have a second on that, so that one dies down. Do we have another candidate?
I'd like to nominate John Young.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2015-196. This is also an appointment to the planning board. This is to fill vacancy for alternate number 2.
I'd like to nominate Robert Crompton again.
Okay, I'll second him. In the spirit of cooperation, I humbly second that individual.
I'm getting warm and fuzzy up here.
Isn't this nice? Grinning ear to ear as I do it. Go ahead.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
No.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Okay, we move down to administrative reports. Council comments or questions on the administrative reports? Go to council comments. Tom?
Last week, we had a meeting about the beach ordinance. From the beginning, I've been saying we were trying to protect what we've been doing in this township for years. The alcohol thing was 1974 with the original ordinance. People thought we banned alcohol, we were changing things. We're not. We said, if you're under the influence, don't go to the beach. I talked to most people, they find that to be reasonable. We never banned anything. If there was a problem, the police went down, just like if there was a problem in the neighborhood, the police responded. Dogs, we allowed dogs. We didn't ban, we didn't restrict. What most people didn't realize is due to ordinance 8507, dogs aren't supposed to be on the beach. No animals are supposed to be on the beach unless they're wild. We're allowing the dogs because that's what the people have been doing for years. And that's what we want to keep happening. But as the township grows and as more people use our beach, and people are worried about the condition of the dogs, especially in the heat of the day and everything else, we picked a time that says, let's let the dogs stay at home in the cool air or somewhere where they have shade and water and they're protected. Last week, we talked about zero tolerance, enforcing the old rules. Well, the old rule is no dogs. It's even posted in places in the villas where the old signs are. It says no alcohol. Nothing's changed from 74 on that part. But zero tolerance is dangerous for certain things. It sounds great. But let's face it, what would you rather have if you're down at the beach and you're doing something, someone coming up to you and say, excuse me, you can't be doing that right now. Or please, dog's supposed to be, you come back at 4 o'clock with your dog. Or would you rather have them writing you a ticket? That's zero tolerance. Some common courtesy. We're not putting a beach patrol in. We're not getting, I don't want to take police off the street to be patrolling the beach. We have other issues. We want people to enjoy our beach. We want people to have their common sense rules. They're following state and federal guidelines, changing some definitions that happened over the years. We want the people to enjoy the beach as they have for years. And that's all we're trying to protect, is make sure people know there's some common sense rules down there. Protect your dogs, protect your neighbors. Have a good time.
I'd like to say what a great time it was down at the ferry terminal yesterday. The Escape to Cape was a tremendous event. The amount of people down there it was just phenomenal. Give a lot of credit to the people that were down there with security, the police department, rescue squad that were down there, not only for the the competitors, but we're down there for the safety of everybody else that was enjoying the event. It was a really great event. Another thing that I would like to get out there is I want to congratulate and wish the best of luck to the Lower Cape May Regional Class of 2015, which will be graduating on Friday. They're our future, and I wish them the best, whatever endeavor they choose to do in life. And I hope they remain or come back to Lower Township to be permanent residents here. That is important, I believe, to our community. And last but not least, 4th of July will be coming up before we meet again here, and I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy 4th of July. Enjoy the celebration, and again, please be safe.
All right. I want to send a bunch of thanks out. First of all, everyone who showed up and participated in the Run the Runway 5K and walk. I know Bruce Vernier puts that together. This is the second year that he's done that to raise money for the Naval Air Station Wildwood. So, it's nice to see everybody from the community pitching in and helping out. Saturday, June 13th, this past Saturday was the Kids Rock Festival held by the Knights of Columbus. It grew over the last 2 years. This year they had it at the Moose Lodge. So we thank the Moose Lodge for hosting that. Dan Gilliam and all the people from Knights of Columbus that put that together to raise money for hungry kids, families in need of diapers, food. It was just a great community event. It's nice to see how it's grown over the 3 years and how many people showed up. And, I'm sure, they hope and we all hope that it grows again for next year. I didn't get the final total this year, but I'm sure it well exceeds the amount they raised last year. So kudos to those guys. And yes, the Escape the Cape, a big kudos out to Steve Delmonte, Delmo Sports, all his volunteers and his crew, as well as, like Councilman Perry said, all of our emergency people, as well as the DRBA and the ferry terminal, just everybody, and the community. I mean, there were people out, handing out water out of their front yards. They had their hoses out. I mean, it was just nice to see everybody come together and support what a great, such a great event. It grew this year, and in 3 years it's become, people don't realize, if you were here and heard Steve speak, it's not just a big event around here. It's one of the premier events in the United States now in just 3 years, which is an incredible accomplishment. And also, Steve Delmonte gives back. I mean, he donates to our recreation programs. He's in our schools helping out with disadvantaged teens. And he helps out in a lot of ways in our community. And it's nice to see him pull off such a great event. And again, and I also want to congratulate Eileen for finishing this year. It was her first year. I know she had many trials and tribulations. She had a rough, but she stuck with it and she was determined and she finished. And that, that goes, you see a lot of people like that in our community, that it's really not just an event. For a lot of people, it's a, it's a discipline, it's a interpersonal accomplishment. You're doing it for yourself and to prove that you can do it. And, it's just nice to see people, they feel great when they finish and if they finish. And anyway, again, thanks to everybody that helped out. It was a safe event. It's the one event that you'll go to where Homeland Security is in charge of the security, which makes everybody feel much better about participating or being a spectator. And last but not least, we received a letter this week. David Lepore, our fire commissioner, the chairman of our fire commission in Irma. The reevaluation was done in the Diamond Beach section. We have a shared service with Wildwood Crest, and there's just a lot of thank yous to go out. This letter that I have in front of me is from Dominic Santana, who's the manager of the National Processing Center. The ISO ratings are in, the new ISO ratings. For those of you that didn't know or don't remember, the people in that part of our township, their fire safety ratings went up to a 10, which is the maximum for paying fire insurance. And the new public protection classification came out, and through the hard work of our fire commissioners, our council here, I met many times with Mayor Groon of Wildwood Crest and Manager Taylor from Wildwood Crest. They were a big part of this. Our own Manager Ridgway. It started back when Manager Vole was here, and it's been a long process, but we got it done. And in hopes, there was no guarantee that this rating would drop, but we found out this week that it dropped from a 10 to a 4. So it is a great accomplishment. I want to thank everyone that helped out with that. So that's it for me.
Eric, I'd like to compliment you for representing council at the Escape the Cape. I understand that you might have been disappointed by your time this year, but you did have a flat tire, and you saw it all the way through in spite of that.
Thank you. Thanks for being there to support it.
Yeah, so I was there to cheer you on, but I saw you go through it. So thanks for representing council. Just want to say thanks to all of you for attending these meetings. Many of you are reading all the fine print, looking into all the details, keeping us honest and keeping us straight, asking good questions. And then, like I say to everybody I meet that's a resident here in Lower Township, thank you for your taxes.
Yeah, I saw some township employees coming across the line. I was just holding my breath that we didn't have to cart them out of there, you know what I mean? We need them in work here.
We got our health benefits.
Yeah, we do, you know. I was prepared to go over there and give air or water, whatever it takes to get them in here to work. But it was beautiful. It didn't start out well, but it cleared up enough to get a great day in. And it is a phenomenal event. I mean, there's not much you can say about it. Like I said, there's two things that absolutely have impressed me over the past years. That event certainly is one of the two. The other one is the Cape May Brewery. Just the way that those guys came in with basically nothing and have grown the way they did. So that's where you
And Mayor, they have an excellent Escape the Cape IPA, which is
sounds like a deal. I got a lot to say, so I'll say nothing. Okay, so we got pool passes now on sale at the rec center. We have the Independence Day Festival and Fireworks Friday, June 3rd on the Bayfront in North Cape May. July. Does that say July? What did I say? Okay, it's over. July 3rd on the Bayfront in North Cape May. And I just had my eyes fixed too. Summer Concert Series begins July 8th at the ferry terminal, 5:30 at night. July 8th is Soul Cruiser, July 15th B Street Band, July 22nd Separate Ways, July 29th Morrison Brothers, and August 5th Danny V's. And at some point, we should probably, Jim, just mention about the FEMA and let the people know, because we got a 3-week gap between the next township meeting. So I'll talk just briefly about where we're at with that. We had a conference call with the congressman's office, I guess last Thursday, myself, the manager, Bill Galestock, Stu Farrell, and our appeal of the V-zone determinations is going up to FEMA. Probably, I think maybe this week we'll have a final draft of the of our objections to the delineation of our bayfront and the V-zone. And it's based upon two separate arguments that we have. There's two primary ways that they determine whether or not your town is in the V-zone, and one is the what they call the frontal dune, which means that the house is sitting on a dune that goes to the landward side behind the houses. So the V-zone comes to the first dune and goes on the other side, which basically puts most of our bayfront in the V-zone, north of the Coxhole Creek.
Fern Road.
Okay, so what you have, the second method is what they call the wave measurement. It's a Waffet's measurement is what they call. And they use that if there's no dune. And when Stu Farrell, who was excellent at this, did all the calculations, the V-zone, if they had used the other method, the V-zone would be out in the water. I mean, it wouldn't even, it comes in 10 times as far using the dune method. The point is, if you go up to, like, say, Pierce's Point and different places where there's no dune, and they actually ride free of the V-zone, and common sense gets thrown under the bus with our bayfront, because there's no way in this world that we should be in the V-zone based upon using the second method. It appears to be a policy. It's not something that's etched in stone, and that is our one method of appealing this. How successful we did, go through the chain of command inside the political establishment to try and gain some kinds of help in this redress. The second, the issue that was raised was the fact that this really isn't a dune out here, but a coastal bluff. And there's a difference, and at some points, we looked at photos where they had gone down to put in bulkheads along there, and you actually can see where there's dirt underneath the dunes and ancient vegetation or whatever. If you dig far enough down in there and it's up high enough, that we feel that the designation of it being dunes along there is inaccurate. It's probably a coastal bluff. I've gotten quite a few calls from people wondering where we're at with this. So the point I'm trying to say is that we have been working with this. We've been in a very cooperative spirit with our political friends, trying to get them to understand the serious nature of this, because it obviously has a huge impact on the township itself, the people that live along the bay, the ratables, the insurance, everything else that you could possibly think of that's wrapped up into this. And let me see. I think I got the points. We told them we would speak about this basically just to make sure that the people have an eye. The two methods give, and I have the notations in talking with Stu Farrell, they give dramatically different results, is how he termed it. And if you wanted to get technical, you people that are going to write about this, if you choose, you better talk to Stu and give him a call. But we're sending this up. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. I think I've read out everything that I was asked to read, so we'll now go to the call to the public. If you wish to address council, this gentleman here, coming down.
Dan Anderson, Town Bank Road. In lieu of all the problems that we had last week, why can we not change the time of special meetings? Does it take a resolution?
No, I think that's arbitrary, really. I think that's up to the
To
person.
make it more accessible to the public, 6 or 7 o'clock. 4 o'clock is kind of ridiculous. A lot of people have to work.
Sometimes and I get that. There are special meetings that in some ways are perfunctory, meaning that we basically have had a public meeting, and sometimes, like for instance, I guess last year we had one before the Escape the Cape, because we needed to sign papers that we had discussed at a meeting. Nobody was here. It wasn't that big of a deal. If it's a hot button issue, your point is well taken. But really, the goal is not to have special meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be discussed at a regular council meeting. Does anybody else wish to address council? I see this lady, young lady, the same young lady that came last time. I do remember this person. Barely out of her teens, if I'm not mistaken.
My name's Patience Carroll. I live in the Villas. Thank you, Mayor and staff. I'm sorry, and council. I'm the one that had the Corvair, wasn't allowed in the Villas.
Right.
When I was a kid, we invested our money over here. I just wanted to read. I was unable to make the meeting on May 18th, so I wanted to read the minutes from the May 18th meeting, which was, I believe, the beginning of the Dog Beach drinking issue. Councilmember Conrad suggested tabling the ordinance to fine-tune it. Councilmember Perry voiced concern about the health and safety of the public with increased population, but agreed that the wording needed to be cleaned up. Councilmember Simonson agreed. Deputy Mayor Clark encouraged further discussion to make people more sensitive and aware. Mayor Beck stated for his desire for increased enforcement on the beach. He thanked RAB for their work and agreed that the ordinance be recrafted. I just wanted to know, between then and the 4 o'clock special meeting, did any of that happen?
If you're asking me, I don't know.
I'm just quoting everybody
I
here.
believe some of the wording was changed. We talked about changing it that night, and it was in the process of being changed in between.
And when were the people made more sensitive and aware?
From the newspaper, when we did the meetings, we discussed it that night.
Okay.
If that
I just
had
want
been
you to
brought
know
up-
that, I just want you to know that before I walked into this meeting, that meeting last week, on the, whatever the date was, the 4 o'clock meeting, I stayed home from work in Philadelphia that day just to be here at 4 o'clock. And before I walked in the door, about an hour before the meeting started, I was told by a member of the press that the vote was 3-2. And I just want to know how that happened. Like, how did we already know the vote? And all the people that were here were not in favor of making any changes. Nobody stood up that was in favor of making any changes, yet the vote was clearly made before anybody even came here. And I just want you guys to know the reaction that I heard. Mine was, I went out the door and said, everybody get a fire pit and a cooler, let's go to the beach, because, you know, let's get it out of the way right now, because it's not going to be able to happen anymore. I was quoted as saying that I bought a house in the Village so I could take a cooler to the beach. I don't even drink. Not what I said at all. Anyway, the comments that I heard when I left here, which really disturbed me, because I did invest a lot in this area, at a very high risk, I think, was that it was taxation without representation. It was a dog and pony show. That Councilman Simonson never looked up and addressed anyone, even when he was spoken to. These are comments that I heard, which, I got to tell you, everybody was, it felt like a dictatorship, in a sense, to a lot of people that were here. You guys are elected to be in office to represent the people, and I know that Councilman Conrad feels as if he's been attacked by some things that were written to you. But people also felt as if responses were somewhat threatening. And, you know, I get what you're saying about the zero tolerance. It makes perfect sense to me. I think if people just behave as responsible adults, we can all, you know, get around this whole issue. I don't think there should be a time restraint at all on the dogs being down there, as long as there's a responsible adult that's walking them and taking care of them. But I just wanted to share with you that, you know, every action has a reaction. So, you know, when people feel like they're being dictated to, they feel their response, natural response, is to attack back. But that's what you guys you wanted to be here. So the people need to be heard, I think, more so than what was heard in between. I don't know, I didn't talk to anybody that really got any part of this. They all walked out of here like, what the heck just happened? And how did a member of the press know the vote before we did? Because that was 2 hours of everybody's time in this room that night that they'll never get back. For what? If you knew the vote, why don't you just put that in the paper? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bob?
Robert Rizzo, Mickles Run. I'd like to change the subject, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Go for it. All right, good enough. You know, I usually read Spout Off with a grain of salt. I know you don't read it at all, Mr. Mayor, and those of you who do, you get a laugh. But I found something in there that I thought would be important for us to follow up on. Last week, someone wrote and asked why Public Works trash trucks could not report unkempt properties. when collecting. This would replace the homeowner's responsibility. You know, if I live next door to someone who hasn't cut their grass since the beginning of the year, I kind of feel bad about, you know, reporting them. I know our man over there, maybe he's going to get some help, Mr. Fiore, and he could probably use it. However, I take a ride every morning. I drive Town Bank Road. Between Bayshore and the Bay, there's 2 properties right in a row that haven't been cut since the beginning of the year. The grass is like 2 feet tall. Now, if I lived next door to those people, I might, you know, hesitate. I mean, he's a good neighbor, but he don't cut his lawn, or maybe there's someone sick in the family. I begin to have feelings about not calling. But if I do call, then I have to give my name, my shoe size, why I'm calling. The trash truck people could do this job. That guy in Spalwolf had a great idea. What's the matter with a trash truck that drives down Town Bank Road, not jotting down that particular property and have it taken care of? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I tell you, I get upset when I drive down Town Bank Road on my way to the Bay. I drive there every day, and it's very upsetting. Eric, you used to live on Town Bank Road. Your house never looked like that, and your new home doesn't look like that. I'm sure of it. Maybe we could do something about it. To me, that sounds like a good idea.
We've spoken in prior situations, especially even in talking with Public Works about crime, in the sense that these guys, anybody that has a steady route that rides around, after a while, like the mailman, I mean, having did this for a living, you know, police department, there are certain people who know neighborhoods better than anybody else, and sometimes it is the people in
Even
Public
the police
Works.
could report this.
And, you know, identifying, say, like houses that your antenna goes up, various and sundry things. And we've had occasionally where they've helped us on different things, but we'll pass.
Well, yeah, let's find more than one way of reporting these properties.
Potholes, lights, different things, any kind of hazard, signs down, things like that.
Absolutely.
I agree.
We need to have Lower Township look as good as it can be.
Well, your
We
point's
have a
well
lot
taken.
of good things going on in the township, but when you drive around and see this, and this is your ward, Mr. Perry, it's upsetting, probably to you too. Thank you very much.
Okay. This gentleman back here has his hand up.
I just wanted to tell Bob that I've already reported these properties 2 weeks ago.
Well, thank you, but this is about address of this lady here.
Rosalie Gallagher, Springtime Road. You all forgot to mention one of the nicest events we had this month in Lower Township. You attended.
All right, I can't even
The
tell you.
Fisherman's Festival.
Oh, well, yes, indeed. He did a fantastic job over there. I saw Rich over there. I saw a few people over there. The Kevin
Maloney.
Maloney's, the Ronan.
Yes, it was
Okay,
great.
The ship. It was fantastic. It was, were you over there?
Wayne Will.
Yeah, it was out, next to the Lobster House. It was a fantastic show.
And I hope next year that more local residents can go there. I know you were there Sunday because Kevin told me, but I didn't see you on the Fisherman's Wharf tour.
Were you working there, or you just came? Can you explain maybe just in a
need
few
the word out
sentences
earlier.
to tell people what it is? He was here. He did.
No, I mean,
The tour, they had different organizations from the different fisheries, like Lunds and all the different
Right.
people set up. And then there was the Rowan. People could go on that for nothing, and that was just wonderful
It was-
to see what these fishermen
Right.
if they're out to sea 5, 10 days at a time, they're small little bunks and how close quarters they are. And
It's 70 years old, and they renovated it up
it's
in New
wood,
England.
and it's Mystic, Connecticut, and
Okay.
it took them 31 hours to get here at 8 knots an hour. And it was just wonderful going down to see the kitchen and where the men were, and also the other side, the engine, where the captain and the engineer slept.
Yeah.
And that engineer told us everything about engines, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. And but it's great, and it's Lower Township. Even though it's the Port of Cape May, we are the second largest commercial fishing port on the eastern seaboard, and we're number 4 when it comes to money. So hopefully, more of us people from Lower Township can go there and be very proud of our township. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well done.
You also, Ms. Gallagher, also, we do need to get the word out. I mean, Mr. Maloney was here, but we need to get the word out. And the Coast Guard was there also, and the auxiliary, and
Right.
everybody was, touring the Coast Guard small boat was great.
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Reeder from Villas by the Bay. My husband tells people that we are living in Cape May, and I make the correction. We're living in the Township of Lower, which virtually surrounds and has this, and this. And so I'm very pleased with what I know. And when he was talking to a woman on the beach, telling her she's new to the area, and he was telling her she thought she was in Cape May, but she was on the beach in Lower. And he told her all the good things. And concerning the escape the Cape, it was anything but cool, but it was cool to be a volunteer. It was really good. And also, concerning the neighborhoods, the lawns, et cetera, I was told, looking at wilderness lots, that people who have unfinished lots, undeveloped, have 3 years between times when they must clear them. And that's a lot more bother. We pay for mosquito spraying monthly, and we have an undeveloped lot nearby. But is it true that they can wait 3 years before they do any clearing? Because it makes a nice home for skunks and other
I don't know if they
critters
have
as
to
well.
clear it.
Is it, I don't think they have to. Was there a structure there that was removed, or is it just
No,
an
it's a
open lot?
vacant lot.
A vacant lot?
With trees and woods type thing?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that there is any
Yeah.
specific mandate that they have to clear it at all. There is an ordinance on noxious weeds, things like that, if there's poison ivy or something growing over there. If there's trash there, obviously, we can take action, but short of that, no.
Oh, I'm sure there's poison ivy, but I'm not going to go prove it.
Well, that's probably,
that's
if it's
what I
coming in your,
heard.
in other words, if it's coming into your yard, the poison ivy,
Yeah.
that's where we run into enforcing that.
Okay, so that's not part of making the Township of Lower prettier?
No.
Those are just natural. Okay, thank you for the
Thank you.
clarification. And I'm glad to be here.
Okay, thank you. All the way in the back? Now, you're up next, Bill.
Hi, I'm Mickey Kane from the Villas, and I just wanted to comment that after the special meeting, I did write to the 3 councilmen who voted in favor of the ordinance, and I thank you, Councilman Conrad, for responding to me. The one thing I want to say now, nothing about that ordinance, but I was recently at the beach in Townbank and a little bit further down in North Cape May, where I saw nice mats leading out to the bay, benches, trash receptacles, and I wondered why we don't have those in the villas. Very few beaches have trash receptacles, no benches, and I wondered, since we're all part of the same township, why some areas looked very nice and inviting, and others kind of looked like the lower section of the town. So I would like to request some trash receptacles and benches.
I'd like to answer your question first and let you know that for the last, I don't know how many years along the whole bayfront, they've used what's been known as, they call them rollouts. They're wooden rollouts, and if you see them, they're at probably 10 of the access points. Now, we don't put them on the private beach areas in Town Bank, but you'll see them up from Lincoln to Emerson. Well, last year, we were approached by a company to consider using a different surface, and I researched it at that point, and they're very expensive. But one area that I thought would be a nice test zone for us would be Lincoln, because the deck that was there was ruined, and we were going to have to build a brand-new decking this summer there, and it's also our handicapped access. So I was figuring if there was any place to do a test, we would do it to help the folks that were handicapped also. That is why that street right now is the only one with the, I think they're very pretty. I'm hoping.
Slippery when wet.
Well, and I will say this to you. What makes it even more expensive, as much as I could like to sit here and tell you, I've told the rec director to consider expanding into next year, but the company right now does not make the mats that will bend, and our access points are not straight. At Lincoln, it's pretty straight, but some of them have,
Right.
and that is going to create a problem. So, like you said, if we were able to do 4 next year, I'm sure the 6 that didn't get it would say why, and it's just the way it's structured.
But we don't have any at our end of town.
Okay.
And we don't have trash, and we don't have benches.
And
So
what street or
I'm on a private section.
yeah, well,
But anything, the whole village says nothing. So,
okay.
No, there's some areas that have to be addressed in the village, and you're absolutely correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
This gentleman's up, he had his hand up here.
Yeah, Bill Greenfield, Villas. A little confused. Maybe you can clear something up for me here. Said dogs aren't currently allowed on the beach, but the new ordinance allows them on the beach.
Now, well, hold on a second. Let's back up here. Let's back up.
Go ahead.
You're going to quote an ordinance that nobody really looked at, paid attention. Dogs have been going down that beach forever.
Agree.
Okay, if a law is not enforced, it doesn't exist. Okay, for 30-some years ago, when we discussed it last week, nobody knew that there's a small caveat somewhere, because I actually went on to the township thing that says dogs are not allowed in parks.
Parks.
And recreation areas.
Recreation areas. Well, you're extrapolating. It's not.
I learned from that.
It wasn't tinkering with an ordinance. It was hitting it with a brick, because what you basically did was to sit back in an area that people always had the right to go down if they abided by, if
Can I
they
ask where
weren't
those
there-
signs in the village
if
came
they
from that says
weren't-
no animals?
Yeah, and at the same time, in the park, it used to have curb your dog, too. So, and it's just like down there, you're going to tell me that we don't allow dogs on the beach by virtue of an ordinance that goes way back, but we have signs that says, pick up after your dog and leash your dog.
Is that an
So-
ordinance, the leash law?
Well, yes, it is.
So-
That is, and it's one that we have
When you have a
enforced,
leash law,
we have enforced that
That's
periodically.
permitting- If you have
So-
a leash law, then that's permitting.
So what we're saying now is in ex post facto, after it's all over and we discover this, we're going to come back to you and tell you it's not raining. Because what we're basically saying to you is that we could have gone and said, let's enforce this law that we just dug up and didn't know about at the last meeting. And if we had, dogs wouldn't be allowed on the beach at all. So we're being very generous and now letting you have dogs on there except for 11 to 4. Okay. So the reality is of this, it was the whole issue was that there's no enforcement, there never has been enforcement of banning dogs off of the beaches down there. Or if you want to come and sit at my house, it looks like the Easter parade. I'm in front of Mulligan Field, and people walk their dogs all day. And yes, there's a sign up at the end where it's buried in there and it says no dogs, but nobody enforces it. Is that a law? I mean, if it's not enforced whatsoever? I mean, you know, the point is that the intent of this was to limit the amount of hours, which was never limited before.
Right.
Never, if it's not enforced for 30-some years, that law to me doesn't
But
exist.
when you have an ordinance that says keep your dogs leashed on the beach.
It does.
Technically, that's allowing dogs on the beach.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It shows you where we're at. We could have a meeting with 200-some people, and even the rec board said that they were looking at maybe banning dogs in the park.
Did you say there's signs that say no dogs on the
Yes.
beach? Where's this at?
In the villas, if you go to certain entrances.
Are you talking about?
Certain entrances.
Are you
'Cause
talking
I've-
about at the Mulligan Field?
Is that the beach?
No, I didn't.
Okay, then that's not
I'm
what
asking
I'm
if you were
talking
saying
about,
about
no.
Mulligan
Okay,
Field.
because the signs I see are the leash law signs, not no dog.
I'll go down and look for specific streets, but I've already been told by different residents, they were wondering why there was dogs on the beach, because when they went down there were signs. And I'm not going back on anything I said the last time. We're trying to tie in everything. You're making it to be one thing. That's not the fact.
Well, the fact is that you now have, for the end of the summer, people that can't take their dogs on the beach, where before they could, between the hours of 11 and 4.
And we're passing the
And you're
animal
trying to
ordinance.
make it sound as if you're being generous.
And you were the one that said that enforce all the rules.
And I would enforce certain, the
You're
certain rules.
certain, thank you.
Certain rules, just like you do in policing. You sit back and you have a series of auto accidents at an intersection, you say, we're going to write tickets here because it's dangerous.
Okay, now
If
that
you
we-
have a
now that we
series of
cleared that
complaints
up, I'd
about
like to-
leashes, you enforce that.
Now that we cleared that up, I'd like to refer back to what the lady was saying about the comments from the May 18th meeting. I had previously watched the video of that meeting, and when the ordinance came up for discussion, council comments, during the council comments, the ordinance was amended, and then after that, you had public discussion. Once public discussion was done, and then you had the motion to table the ordinance, that's when all the comments were made. Well, we need to fine tune this, recraft it, change it. No discussion occurred on the ordinance after that. All the discussion was previous to those comments, when the ordinance was amended. Thank you.
All right, somebody else had their hands up. I think this lady's been patient over here.
Hi, Diane Rickards, Florida Avenue. So I didn't know anything about the meeting last week with the dog banning. I know it's not dog banning, but we're talking about not having dogs on the beach from 11 to 4. I was very disappointed to learn about it via Facebook. So I'm here tonight to gather a little more information, but I guess my biggest question, and I was not here last week, so I didn't hear what happened, but thank you, Patience, for some of your information. I'd like to hear from the 3 council people who voted for the ordinance in terms of what exactly, why they voted for such a thing. I mean, I take my dogs on the beach, we walk, we meet a lot of very nice dog owners, and I don't see any problem on at least the Villas beaches. And I'd like to understand why you voted for it. If I could just hear from each of you, please.
Public safety.
Safe.
Health
Could you-
and welfare of the people, all the people.
Can you explain what that is? Are there people getting sick and hurt?
I'm not going to sit up here and argue with you. If you
I
want to have
don't-
a discussion in private, I'll be happy to talk.
No,
to you, but
I come down a lot. I live on the bay, and I'm on the beach quite frequently, and I don't understand why you voted for it.
Okay, most of the beach in the villas is private land. So we have no control. The ordinance only covers township-owned beaches. That's it.
So it's like a hopscotchy thing. Some
To an
beaches.
extent, yes. Is
So
the
there's
map
a.
up, or-
So
Okay, I didn't know if it was up.
so we can hopscotch our dogs
It's, as I said,
along
it's
and be
most of
in
the
violation sometimes and not other. I mean, no, I'm just trying to understand
I
because
know,
it was
I'm trying to
totally
explain.
surprised to me what happened. So Tell me why it's a safety, public health concern?
More
Something?
people on the beach, the dogs, it could be dangerous. I explained this before. I'm sorry you weren't there.
I didn't know about it.
And as I said, it's health, safety for everybody. I mean, we just had an animal ordinance that was pushed through for extreme weather, and here we are saying the dogs should be kept in air conditioning with ventilation at the heat of the day, and now we're arguing they should be on the beach on the hot sand with possibly no water.
Possibly. Okay, there are a lot of homes down here that don't have air conditioning. They're little bungalows.
And that's why we didn't
So
pass
to
it
leave a
that way.
dog home at noon in 90 degrees is a lot more dangerous than taking them to a cool beach
And
to
that's why we
go
changed
swim.
the ordinance.
You changed the ordinance from what to what?
We got rid of the air conditioning on the extreme weather ordinance. That same argument that you just made.
Different ordinance.
So
Yes,
okay,
different ordinance.
I don't quite understand, but so if you're saying it's a safety issue for dogs or people?
Both.
All right, so it's a safety issue for dogs. How is it a safety issue for people if you enforce the leash laws?
Because even on a leash, a dog could still bite someone if it accidentally gets stepped on.
Has that happened a lot or anything?
It's happened in the past, and it's happened with me and with my dog on a leash. So
You let your dog bite somebody on its leash? I'm just trying to understand. I see no problems. I've been coming here for 40 years, and I don't know one person that's ever been bit. I think there was something in North Cape May 5 years ago with a child and a dog incident, but I mean, that could happen walking outside here. I don't understand why you voted for it, and I'm asking for an explanation.
I tried to explain, and I'm done for right now.
Okay, can I just say one other thing, please?
Excuse me. See,
Okay.
excuse
Well,
me.
Mayor-
Microphone, and go ahead. Finish your questions.
So I'm just trying to really fully understand, and it doesn't make sense to me that 3 people would vote for something that I don't see that there was a problem. And your explanation is not satisfactory. But I did want to say, if it's too hot for dogs between 11 and 4, and they should be kept off the beach, then what about children? Should children be kept off the beach from 11 to 4? Should we ban under 5-year-olds? Does that make sense? It follows your logic. So do you have a comment?
If you would like to talk in private, I'll be talking private, but to be questioned, when we are on something that's already done, I've tried, I'm
Well,
done.
I understand there's a petition to get it on the ballot or to reverse the ordinance, so I hope that succeeds.
Could you move on to the, he's not going to answer you.
He's not going to answer me? Okay. Well, Mayor, I wanted to thank you for your update on the FEMA issue, and I wish you guys a lot of luck on recalculate or, your proposal for...
I think we got a decent shot, but
Okay.
it's going to take a lot of arm twisting.
Okay. Well, I wish you luck on that, and thank you very much for the update.
Thank you. I see a hand here. Yes, I believe it's you.
Ellen Thompson, 44 East Delaware Parkway Villas. Okay, so you guys, what'd you think of Mutts Cove? Who's for it? Who's against it? And just an explanation why, a reason. And you got 5 minutes, gentlemen.
In general terms, and I'll take lead on that. I don't mind. I'm against it, and you're just going to have to accept that based upon the following. I think it's a question of location. I think it's the wrong place for that. We had an ordinance that limited dogs on the beach, and I wasn't happy with that. This would basically limit people on that beach. It's a half-mile stretch, or I think you termed it. I don't know if it's quite that far. I think the prospect of running it, the prospect of insurance, the prospect of safety, I think that would be. Dogs don't know boundaries. They don't realize that this is the end of the dog park or the free run. So there's a lot of different reasons why I'd be against that. If it was in another location for some reason and the township was not involved with it, and again, it's, you sit back and say, well, who's going to clean it up? Who's going to police it? Who's going to be there when there's conflict? you'd almost have to put a lifeguard there for the dogs. So my answer is no, I don't support that.
Mr. Perry?
Yes? Do I support it?
Yes,
No.
Okay, Mr. Conrad?
As I told you before, I like the idea. There's some thought on it. But some of the very same things that the mayor brought up are some of the questions I have. I like the idea of a free reign for place for the dogs, but there's the security. How do you, you brought, and your points on the rules, they were great. Who's going to enforce them? Who's going to check it? These are things that can be worked on. I like the concept. I don't know about the location. There might be a better spot for it, because from what I talk to people, there's a lot of people that do use that. But I do like the general idea. But we have to get certain things answered. There's liability, as he said, safety. I'm looking at security, because as what he brought up, how are you going to fence it in? How are you going to know which people did follow your rules to get in and have their dogs there? And who's maintaining it? And those are things that would have to be looked into.
Mr. Clark?
Helen, I compliment you on the work that you've done on this. For the same reason, I didn't want to push this issue this close to the season. I want to, give everybody time to think about it and study it and make sure we're doing it right. So, for example, all the people that live along that stretch of land that you're proposing to have as Mutts Cove, I'd want to hear how they feel about that. I'd also encourage you to talk to Joe Salvatore over. He's the guy who runs the Naval Air Station Wildwood. He has been longing and hoping to start a dog park out there in the airport. He's got a
No, the water. There's no water over there. Go ahead.
Okay, well, he's been around to a lot of dog parks because he's a dog lover, and he has been socializing that idea. And so I think it might be something to explore, because he's, up until we got this issue, I was, I wasn't really following up on it, but now, given the situation, this makes his idea look more attractive. So I agree with Councilman Conrad that the concept of having a place where people can walk their dogs is an attractive one, but we have to make sure it's in the right place. And I don't want to just decide that we're going to do it, take some rash step before the season.
Mr. Simonson?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said as far as liability. There's a lot, you probably have to have a township employee there to run it. But I do appreciate the work that you've put into it. It is something that I'd like to research. I know you mentioned some of the towns that have them already. Yeah, I'd like to, take that further. I'm sure the rest of us would consider in the future. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it's something that, to see how some of the other towns maintain theirs, whether it's, by their township, or if the police do it, or if they have, animal control and things like that, and how it's done. But it's definitely something to look into. And like I said, I'd like to see a lot more municipalities that have that, and I'm sure there are, and just to do some research on how they manage it. And I would be willing to revisit it. But at this, I agree, there's a lot of factors involved. There's safety, there's security, there's insurance issues and things like that.
Okay, thank you for answering the question. I do want to say this, there is no houses in that area, and that ends well before the first house starts after Lincoln Boulevard. So the house at Lincoln Boulevard doesn't start at Lincoln Boulevard, it starts well after. It's hundreds of feet that ends before the first house starts.
So it's between Lincoln and the ferry, is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I want to leave those water park pictures there. I mean, it's pictures of the dogs. I know none of you, I'm sure of it, that none of you have ever been to a dog beach. Okay, Maurice Pier has a day. He lets the dogs over there. I'm just saying. He does.
I have,
He's
actually.
gone to the dogs.
In Cape Hatteras, there's many of them.
Anyway, you have?
Yes.
And did they work?
It's not as populated. I mean, there's some beaches that are open that people don't use. So yeah, they work. Again, with if the right factors are involved, I'm sure it could work.
Okay, and I wanted to mention something about the dog park that you just brought up, and I think somebody brought it up last week to the rec advisory committee. Listen, if you put in a water hole, or if you don't give dogs a place to cool off, they're not going to be out there in the summer. So, your dog park idea, I don't know, to put a dog, we have a lot of beach over there, and there's not, can somebody tell me one place where our dogs can swim in this area safely? Anywhere? One place, name
I
one.
think Ponder Lodge.
No.
They
Water's
were
no good
allowing
over
them.
there now.
Okay.
No.
Well,
Well, the bay.
oh, you're asking, and I'm giving you an
No,
answer.
you're not allowed. It's leash law now. As a matter of fact, June 28th, the law will go in effect. It's a leash law. You can't let them swim. At the bay.
The leash law is already in effect.
No, it isn't. It's not in effect till 20 days after you vote.
No, the leash law's been in effect for years.
Oh, they didn't enforce that one. Yours isn't in effect yet. Anyway, so can somebody please tell me where you can take a dog? They stocked the lake now over there. They threw the ecosystem off in the lake. I had my dogs over there last summer. When he jumped up in my bed, he smelled like swamp. Okay, they stock it now. They never did that before. The ecosystem, the Ponder Lodge Lake was nice. I'm shy of taking my dogs over there now because I'll tell you, if you read in the paper not too long back, a couple of days back, maybe a week ago, 2 dogs, one died, blue-green algae, and the other one's fighting for his life. That's what happens to bad water. That's why I say it's important, and if you have someone else design it, I'm not saying me, I'm just saying someone design somewhere, and you have any intention on putting water in, you better be awful careful, because if you get lousy water in there, you're going to have some sick dogs and owners, and I just want to let you know that.
Thank
That
you.
place right there, Mutts Park, or Mutts Cove, that's it right there, I'm telling you. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to address council? Gentleman all the way in the back.
Hi, good evening, Council. Mayor Beck. Daniel Morley from Irma. Just moved in on Friday, so I'm new to the town. But I was here for a good part of the time to deal with this issue, I guess. The ordinance number 2, was it what they voted on the 8th? Was that number the 2?
I wasn't 2.
4?
4.
Ordinance number 4. Coming from a position much like yourselves, I just served 4 years on the town council, so I know the tough job all of you have to do up there, and the ordinances you have to enact or the business you have to do for the entire town. And I guess I just wanted to question you on, I came from a strong mayor, Faulkner Act.
Not real strong.
We're
Not
weak.
real strong?
We're weak here.
Are you able to veto
No.
an ordinance?
No, I am
There's
not.
no veto power at all?
No.
Okay, so when does the ordinance go into effect? How many
The
days after?
28th. I think it's the 28th, correct, Joel?
Is it 20 days after?
20 days.
20 days, yeah.
Okay, all right. So, and is there in place fines? What's the fine structure for the ordinance?
I think it's, what did we say,
It was
500?
up to $500.
Yeah.
What's first offense, second offense? Where is that found?
I don't think it specifies first offense, a particular fine. I think for any offense, it was up to $500. I'd have to review it, but I'm reasonably sure that was.
And who's your enforcement agency?
Gotcha.
We have Animal Control, which is a company that,
Third-party contract, yeah.
yep, and they were down this weekend. Well, they've been working every weekend, but this weekend they were basically informing people that as of June 28th, between 11 and 4, there will be a ban of the dogs, and they're going to do the same thing this weekend. We have signs going up all along the beachfront. The Town Bank Homeowners Association came to me, the gentleman that runs that. They wanted to make sure that their signs were congruent with the signs that we're putting up. They want to match them, which will spell it out. And the ordinance numbers.
Have they put forward a proposal as to how they're going to enforce it?
No, they haven't, but we won't be enforcing the Town Bank beaches because they're private beaches. But
I'm just asking the question.
But we're also going to have a police officer, hopefully 1 to 2 hours on a weekend, involved with a vehicle. That's all I'll say. I don't have it worked out yet, but there's a plan. We're going to enforce this.
Okay. I understand that, and I understand the structure of it. I understand you have the language reads 11 to 4. Much like Mayor Beck said earlier, if you don't enforce the law, does the law exist? Is this going to become too financially burdensome to this town to enforce 11 to 4 structured, no dog zone per the miles of beach you have? Is that something I'm sure you're going to come down the road next budget season and say, maybe we can't afford to do that, so now we have a new law in the books that can't be enforced, so therefore does it exist? So these are all questions. I know you guys have run through them. You did your due diligence, I'm sure, or I hope so. I was unfortunately not able to make the meeting. In my tenure as a councilman, we did have special meetings, but I did make sure that those special meetings were at a time when most of the public could attend. I work in Trenton. I do not get home till 6 o'clock. Therefore, I cannot make a 4 o'clock meeting on a Monday to voice my opinion. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in this room that, much like the lady who took off for the day to be here for sure, to make her opinion known, that cost her money. That cost her money. And it cost her time. So in the future, just have that under consideration when you're establishing new rules and regulations that are bringing government to the people that may not be enforceable or economically feasible. Just have that in consideration. Thank you, gentlemen.
Welcome to the town.
Thank you.
What town did you serve in?
Washington Township,
Washington?
Kernersville.
Okay. Welcome to the town. This gentleman with the white shirt.
My name is John Close from 1000 Crest Place in Town Bank. I'm just here to say thank you to the entire board for having a street paved at Crest Place, and especially to Councilman Dave Perry, Ward 2, and our manager, Jim Ridgway. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it very, very much. It's going to make a big difference in my life and for my wife who has to clean my house. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As old, and the lady in the back, it hasn't been up yet.
My name's Betty Summers. I live on West Atlantic Avenue in the Villas. I'm not up here about the dogs, but I do have to comment. I think it's so ridiculous that people have to be told how and when they can take their dogs out. All my life, we could go anywhere. In fact, a couple of years ago, I had 4 ducks that used to go to the beach every day. I don't know what you would do about that, because they went themselves and they come home themselves. Now, did anybody think if you live on the bay and you have a couple dogs, you have to stay in your house from 11 to 4? Or what do you do? You know, your house is on the beach, and you're going to sit out there with your dogs.
And if it's a private beach, they can do what they want.
Okay, but I don't know one beach from the other. But anyhow, I have a couple dogs. I don't go on the beach. I think people should be allowed to go. But in today's world, I'd be afraid my dogs would be around some of them kids, because they might bite the dogs. That's how they're raised today. In Cape May, there's a restaurant now you cannot bring children in. A couple of people at our hotel tried to get reservations. No children. So that tells you it's not all the dogs. But anyhow, wasn't there a law that no trailers in the villas? On the street or anywhere? Because we're worried watching dogs. We got trailers all over. In my street, and you're the councilman, Tom, for it, you can't get down there. If your rescue squad has to go, you won't get down.
Which street?
Atlantic, you know where I live.
I know, but I have to make sure it's the street you're.
Atlantic Avenue.
Because I know they cleaned up a few of them earlier.
That's right, and now we're back. We got boats on the street. We got them trailers because they cut grass. I have a little car, and I just get through. The fire truck won't get through. You won't get through. It's all new people. We had a nice street, now it's a mess. And I wish you would do something about it because it is scary. And I would leave the dogs alone. It's ridiculous.
How many times are we gonna hear the same people?
Well, I don't
See
know what
something
she's
new.
going to talk about until she gets up here.
I just, Diane Rickards, Florida Avenue. Regarding the signs, everyone was, you're going to put up signs. So if I'm understanding, if it's a private beach, the rules don't apply,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I don't know this automatically. And if it's a state beach, the rules don't apply? Because the property in front of, I'm bayfront and the property in front of me is state. So the rules don't apply?
Township, only the township property,
Okay.
Which is the end of your street.
possibly. Some of that, we don't have all of them.
So when you put up these signs, I'm not sure what they're going to say, but could you, I would request that you don't put them up where they don't apply. So they should not be at the end of every street. They should only be where they apply. So when we are walking up and down the streets, we will know if there's no sign there that it's either a private beach or a state beach or some other designation that doesn't apply. I would not like to see a sign at the end of every road, because it wouldn't be appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Helen, last one, make it short.
Gentleman in the blue that just raised.
Make it very short,
Helen
please.
Thompson from Villas. The leash thing, where can they go swimming? The Ponder Lodge has a law, they have to be on a leash. So
I'm
where?
not sure.
In
You're
this
going to have to
township,
come
where
in
can
and
my dog go swimming?
maybe get the maps and take a look. I'm not
So
sure.
he can go swimming on a private, they can go swimming on a private beach? Is that what you're saying, go to the private beaches and go swimming?
You'll have to, if you have,
Yeah, if there's a private area, sure. That's where
So you're sending township residents with dogs
yeah,
to the
you're going to have
private
to look at
beaches?
the map that we had up here, and I don't have that here right now. It's at the
I
clerk.
can tell you between
Clerk
a
has it.
couple hundred feet between.
Ellen,
never-
please, I've got other people. The last one, a gentleman in the blue here, please.
Glenn Rickards, I live on Ohio Avenue. And I missed that meeting too, damn it. But it seems, the mayor was saying, you had an ordinance that, I say you, but I mean any given administration that went back many years, that prohibited dogs on the beach, if I understand what you said earlier, that was not enforced. And then signs were put up, and these signs said that you had to have a dog on a leash and pick
Right.
up after your dog, which really, if you had enforced the other ordinance, and again, you being, again.
I understand where you're going.
anytime, that really didn't pertain to anything anyway, because you overrode what was there before.
Mhm.
And now what you've decided to do, in some gracious manner, is say that you can't now put dogs on the beach between 11 and 4 o'clock. So the first wasn't enforced, the second didn't mean anything because the first was never enforced, and now there's a third that's being policed by, I hope not these fine young gentlemen you swore in today, because they have better things to do with people dying in local motels. But if your biggest problem is dog crap on the beach, I think you really should change your priorities somewhat. Now, the ordinance itself, I think needs to be explained to all the people where these beaches are, where you can access the beach. Can you go out on the dunes? If you're on the dunes, are you off the beach and not in violation? Excuse me.
Can I
And if
interject
you
real
went
quick?
on the dunes on a private beach, how could you be in violation? So there are a lot of questions here. I'm not sure you gentlemen have looked at all these questions before going ahead with this.
real quick.
Thank you for your time.
No one's allowed on the dunes per state DEP. The dunes are untouchable.
Anyway,
Yes.
okay, what about cats?
Okay, that's, if you would
Any-
like to
what
license the
about-
cats,
any
please,
problem with
go
that?
ahead. If someone's walking their cat, it's all animals, but okay.
Okay, thank you. Real quick, Bill, then we motion to adjourn, Susie's done.
Just in addition to the maps, is there any way of having it down in writing exactly what is township beach, what is private beach? I mean, you look at those
Well, that-
maps and it's.
I understand that, and I don't know. Well,
Posted on the township
I think
website?
maybe you need to talk to Art and try and see if we can't really define what it is. I don't have a question with you.
And you look at those maps and you kind of get an idea, but you
Yeah.
don't know exactly.
You do.
And if we
There's
get
a
those,
Writing posted on the website or something?
Ms. Clerk,
Website, thank you.
if we could possibly try to get that, even the copies we did with the highlighter, just try to get that online. That'll help a lot of people.
Okay. Do I have I'll close the public portion. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.